All right. Hello, everyone. It's week 4 of APA training camp. It's the final week, but the good news is playable character Matt Stewart has been unlocked for this week. So it's not all bad. How you doing,
Well,
Matt? Good to
I'm
see you again.
I am doing well. They sent Max off to find me, and then he did not return. So we will be sans Max today.
It's almost like you can't have three of us now on a LinkedIn Live. It's too much to ask for. The
Yep.
pressure of APATC's got to us all.
Yeah, that is so true.
Um, Good to see some familiar faces in the comments as well. Umesh, good to see you. Good morning to you. Bashkar, good morning. Vatsy, good to see you too.
I'm surprised he
It's
did not post first.
Vatsy, you're slacking. What are you doing, hey?
Yeah,
He was on LinkedIn Live last week, and that's it. It's only third place now, Vatsy. Come on.
cool.
So we hope you all loved week 4. It's been at least in my opinion, a pretty awesome way to round everything off. Um, Lord knows there's been a heck of a lot of content, but just to refresh in terms of what was covered in week 4, the quite fantastic executing a generative AI pilot was number 1 on the leader track. And Matt, I was thinking about this as I was recording the intro video actually to week 4, that probably for a lot of people, it's been a while since they've done a pilot. For those that are experienced in RPA, they perhaps don't need to anymore. But
Yep.
in the world of generative AI and agentic process automation, it's going to be super important to kind of pick that up again and dust off those pilot skills they once had.
Yep. Pilots and POCs were back when you were starting your program. And at this point, if somebody in the business ever asks, can you do this? It's just, yeah, we can. And there's very little to do in terms of piloting and testing.
I remember I used to have to sometimes do proof of technology, like proof that this stuff actually worked, because
Yeah.
people couldn't believe it. But yeah, maybe we're not at that stage, but still, it's going to be a really important one. So hope you enjoyed that, because we then moved on to putting it all together. So all of weeks 1, 2, and 3 were summarized by myself in the applying the 9 steps for agentic process automation success. That was a long video. I think we clocked in comfortably over the hour mark on that. So it was it was a long one, and it pretty much utilized all of the knowledge that you will have hopefully gained in the first 3 weeks. But it will be hopefully a video that you continuously refer back to as you start to expand APA in your own organization.
Yeah, I think personally that course is the one that if you've gone through all of training, you would just use that. And then if you ever need the deeper dive on any of the specific things, you can revisit the appropriate course. But that's the thing that kind of wraps it all together nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for the developer track, Kel Surprise, we also pieced everything together in the building the end-to-end AI-powered projects. And Matt and I are privy to what we've got in the pipeline from a product perspective. So that will probably be a video we continuously update. The leader track, the principles and everything you've learned, that's going to scale and scale awesomely well, regardless of where the technology takes us. But developer track, keep your eyes peeled, because we're going to be doing even more on that. But nonetheless, you've got a full overview of how you can use a perhaps deterministic way of building AI-powered automations, or a completely and fully autonomous way. So that was that one.
Yeah, that was really good. And even when some of the new product things come out that Ali foreshadowed there, this is still going to be an important video because it'll show you what's happening behind the scenes. And any product that you ever see doing things automagically, so to speak, like if you use deep research within ChatGPT or any of those other functions, what you are doing in here is effectively what those tools are doing themselves. They know what tools they have available to it, and they can prompt themselves through the tool. You're just orchestrating that deliberately here in our tool visually.
Then we had Max's final fantastic video, which was how you go about deploying AI agents as well. It was very important to us that we talk you through how you go about building, but then how do you take those live and get them deployed in your enterprise. So another great video from Max, and concluded everything. Matt, I guess key takeaways, 2 to choose from. And yeah, I'm sorry, I picked both of my videos, but which one?
You were the video. You were week 4, so it's kind of hard
True.
for you to pick other things anyway. Yeah, I mean, these two would be my 2 key takeaways as well. The 9 steps, the order that we presented it here, I think is the most realistic one for people doing this kind of work. If you're an automation leader, you probably have people coming to you saying they want stuff. They may solve this problem for us, right? That's giving you a sense of what capabilities you need to build. So that's why we went with the order of educate and align with stakeholders first, then assess and plan, and then building your capabilities. Theoretically, you might already know what is needed at your organization. You might have already talked to all of your stakeholders and you know what they want. You just can't deliver it because you only have RPA. You could just start with the APA capability building portion, building your toolkit out, getting the governance in place, getting the testing. You can go either direction. You can start with per use case or you can start with per capability. Just knowing what to do, following a good methodology, you'll be able to get there. So I'm really glad you were able to summarize that so neatly.
Yeah, I liked everything you said there in terms of if you just get the foundations right, and then if you encounter a situation where maybe you start with the capability rather than the assessment, so be it. But get that stuff down, and yeah, I thought that the leader trail was awesome. So really, really wonderful 4 weeks. And then I was just going to quickly say we had the autonomous build. I think when I reflect on that and a few of the MVPs that I've spoken to. The key point I wanted to make when it was probably about in the hour mark of the video with the autonomous build is what you see on the screen there in terms of the branching in Process Composer is actually super scalable. So we've all been in situations where we're perhaps about to go live or a couple of weeks away from go live for an automation, and the business comes back and says, oh, we really need it to do this. If it can't do this, then it's just no point in going live. And there's these continuous rule changes that can feel like they're conspiring against you. In an automation world, that can be really, really difficult to handle.
And I think that's something really relatable to both developers and leaders. Leaders have to deal with the fallout from that, and then the developers have to go look at their code and figure out, where does this even go?
Yeah, or if I'd have known that up front, I'd have
built the whole
architected it completely differently. The great thing with this autonomous build is you are effectively controlling the flow and the orchestration of the whole process via a prompt, via the customer support agent that you've built. So as long as you're giving it knowledge of a tool, and that tool could sit anywhere within those if statements and those branches on the canvas, as long as you're giving it knowledge and it's aware of the tool, you're effectively controlling the orchestration through a prompt, which for me was a real, I guess something I hadn't even considered until we sat down to build this out, that, oh, wow, this is completely scalable.
I like the idea of saying the prompt is just the requirements now. You know, you have requirements from a business about what the process needs to do. That's just your prompt. It's almost like a one-to-one. You need to provide some of the other things for CoStar, but it simplifies development. New requirement, cool, I have a new tool, update the business process, and you're done. That's why that whole infinitely scalable thing, it's a lot better than trying to figure out which of the 12 TaskBot dependencies you need to go update with what logic. And so looking forward to some of the future versions of this where you don't have to do the deliberate pathing, but it's still pretty powerful.
Yeah, sure is.
All right.
And so let me get on to the weekly driving towards APA success. Matt, over to you for this one.
Yeah, so let's just talk about the activities real quick that we have been handing out. I'm not sure how many of you have seen them, but the one that we've done this week is something I think really, really, really amazing and super helpful. And I want to shout out to Kate, who put it together. This material here is supposed to help you go to the next level, so to speak. This will be something you can work with your team on to figure out where you're at right now with your program, how to prioritize the right opportunities, identify the needs, and then get to the next point. We have a series of discussion questions here and a couple of assets that'll help you go through that. So if you haven't seen this discussion guide or these activities, please go to the forums, find the activity stuff, in our week 4 post and go through them. These are immensely helpful. And just to show you how helpful they are, we are going to have a guest speaker come up here, and we're going to talk through one of the assets that we've created, the prioritization Excel spreadsheet, so to speak, that will help you with pipeline management. It's something that a lot of organizations struggle to do well, and we have provided you something that should help you with that. So Jose, could you come on up onto the stage, and we will start going through these things. I'd like to introduce everyone to Jose here. He's been doing automation for 15 years, and he's currently working with Ricoh. Nice to meet you, Jose. Anything you want to introduce yourself with?
No, I think the introduction is quite clear. Yeah, thank you for having me.
I can give an introduction to Jose actually, because I've had the pleasure of working with Jose professionally. It was short-lived, I think, a few months, but I think the thing that struck me working with you, Jose, is just firstly how humble you are in terms of what you've done at Ricoh, you and the team as well. You're a fantastic visionary, and some of the value that you've delivered has been just profound. So yeah, I know you would be far too modest to talk about what you and the team have achieved, but I can say independently, just what an amazing job you've all done with intelligent automation.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very proud of the scale that we have taken in Ricoh, and the confidence that we have gained also within various team. And yeah, I'm very happy. Thank you for that.
And so, Jose, being a program leader, you have likely done some type of opportunity assessment, right? There's things that people usually ask for. We've put together something here. I'm curious, what have you done in the past when it comes to opportunity assessment? How are you figuring out what things to tackle and what things should be discarded, thrown away, so to speak?
Well, yeah, we have had some different initiatives. Yeah, we have a demand process with on ServiceNow across Ricoh Europe. We receive the demands. There is a business justification. There is a business value in the demand documentation, and we try to. There is a kind of a small group of people that consider these opportunities and reject or approve some of them. No, some in big organizations, all the pipeline for different products is managed within this team, and sometimes other teams don't know about the pipeline of some of the tools that we use. So it's sometimes it's applying the judgment on the roadmap that about some other products, and you have to reject some of the opportunities, no? But when there is an ROI and a return on investment, and when there is some value for the business, it's always something that we are very keen to automate, no?
Yeah, so you mentioned value to the business. So I wanted to show in the asset that we are providing, we have these columns right here, from cost saving all the way down to environmental impact under a business impact section. And what the idea is here is that there's no value, low value, medium, or high, and you can work through and fill out for any given opportunity one of these. So that would handle all of the potential value from the business. And we've put that in there. Those will sum up into a business impact score. You mentioned another thing. I think you mentioned like competing lines of business and some of the other parts there. Have you ever had to deal with the fact that one thing might be worth $1 million, but it's also nigh impossible to build, versus another thing is worth 500,000 and one junior developer could build it in their sleep? Some people like going after the biggest, sexiest number, but you have to also factor in complexity and ability to deliver, right? So feasibility thing, and we've got the rest of those there. I have seen horror stories where people go after just the biggest number and then realize no value because it's so hard to build, versus getting everything that can be done. So we have a series of questions in technical complexity and risk readiness. The first one that we have here says APA capability and technical readiness. And this is all about, are your developers able to do this? Do you have the right skills? Do you know what you're doing? We're also looking at data readiness, process documentation, and business rules and clear business rules, and process complexity for our technical complexity. Jose, do you think that we're missing anything from technical complexity perspective that you normally assess?
No, I don't think we are missing anything here. I think it's covering one of the main concerns at the moment, that is the talent that we have internally in the organization and the capabilities to deliver. Because I think this is a critical time for all the organizations now. Onboarding this knowledge or creating these skills within the company is a real concern.
Yeah.
And well, we about risk and governance, I think we have also those covered there, and it's another concern, no, about giving an agent the capacity to make some decisions, to make some judgment, and I think we have covered all the.
Yep, I like the fact we put in here subject matter expert support and executive support and adoption readiness as 3 things in the risk and readiness section, because some people might say, hey, this is a low impact process. If it breaks, it's fine. It goes to an exception thing. And they immediately think risk and readiness is high. We're good to go. But if no executives care about it and no one from the line of business is willing to walk you through requirements and help you own it, and if it's got humans involved in handling the exceptions and they don't want to be bothered, you're never going to get this built. So it doesn't matter how easy it is, how much, you've got to factor all of these things. So all of this combines together into a business impact score and a feasibility score. We have 4 examples here that we are sharing just so you can get a sense of where they can get placed. And we've created a couple of categories that they can go in depending on where they get ranked. And let me just show you that visually here. Everything that you add to that table will get plotted automatically onto this scatter plot. So as we add new items, they will fall into these categories, and you can get a visual sense for what items you think you should be pursuing versus what items you need to be holding off on. And just to walk through this a little bit, you see the quick wins in the top left category. Those are basically the ones with high value, low effort. You've got strategic priorities over here, which are the ones that are, quick wins are low effort. Value is questionable, but sometimes getting a win on the board, if you can get it in, is the best thing. Strategic priorities are going to be the highest value items, but they are also the highest complexity items, so they might not be the thing that you want to do. We've got this whole section here. You can go up to, I think, 10,000 items, and it'll automatically continue plotting. If you manage to get 10,000 items delivered and need us to update the spreadsheet to account for more, you will be featured on our next LinkedIn Live to talk about your success stories. But I did want to show just a couple of things. If we do a demo solution here, and we were to go through and mark, all of these items in various scores, once we populate through all of the values, it will automatically calculate that score for you. And if we do the same thing here, you'll see those scores automatically show up as well. If you are a feisty person and you want to do some manipulation on how this math is done, rather than it being in code, it is perfectly available to you here. If you think that high value should be prioritized way more than we have it prioritized relative to medium and low, you can just increase these values. If financial metrics are way more important to you than organizational and operational metrics, you can change these weightings as long as they equal 1. Same thing for technology and risk, and same thing for how we've named these categories. I would recommend just leaving it alone until you really get familiar with using this tool. Jose, do you have any horror stories, so to speak, on things that came into a pipeline, weren't managed effectively, and resulted in a bad outcome for both the delivery team and the business?
We have a lot of them. Yeah.
That smirk said a lot more.
Are we talking about them today? No, a lot of them. Yeah. We have. Well, you were talking about a thing about the subject matter expert support and the management team sponsorship, and this is also critical, and the change management, because you can build the best solutions in the world, and you can deploy them into the production control room, but if there is no people willing to use them, is useless, no? But yeah, of course, we have examples of many other ways.
I think when I asked that question and the smirk that appeared on your face, that answered the question for me. Yeah. So I think that smirk, we should get a screenshot of it and just say, have you ever run into horror stories on process management? Yes, that answered it. But I think that shows just how important some kind of matrix is like this. If you don't have anything like this in place right now, and you are doing things very off the cuff, people are fielding emails and making decisions on projects, consider using this resource to help you move into the next level, right? And then if you really enjoy this, we do have products called COE Manager and COE Manager Plus that can help manage pipeline outside of an Excel spreadsheet, and then tie into automations to track value over time as well. This is a great first step for anyone who has not even made that journey yet. All right. Jose, thank you so much for joining us and talking through this. If you have any other feedback for us in making this even better as you're experimenting with it, please feel free to share. And for everyone that is not sure where to find this, this is on the forums right now in the week 4 game plan. All right, Ali, I'm gonna pass it right back to you now.
Yeah, super. Thanks, Jose. Actually, I think we can pass through this and just go to the final one. I just wanted to reaffirm just how useful that exercise is. I think probably every single one of our customers, or at least when I was in professional services and we were doing health checks and lifting the lid on how our customers do things, everyone had their own kind of implementation of this, but certainly nothing as presentable that you could quickly put in a PowerPoint and show this is where we're focusing all our efforts on. So yeah, everyone really recommend you download that. It's awesome. And 10,000 rows, bulletproof. So good. I'm
very proud of the way that the scatter plot handles everything. So yeah, we'll have the
I didn't even know it was
instructions are out
possible.
there. Yeah, it's I'll show you that at Imagine, which is coming in 10 days for everyone who is interested in attending and getting to see a lot more of this stuff in person. All right. We handing it over to
end
Lou.
of the week. Yeah, I think we are.
For the reason most of the people are here to see Lou and hear what the community has to say.
And the swag. They're not here for us. They're here for Lou.
I'm glad that it's only taken you guys 4 weeks to realize this.
Yep.
It's fine. It's a little delayed, but it's fine.
4 weeks of denial. That's where we've been.
Yeah, exactly. Also, just leaning on that a little bit more, a quick Imagine plug. We are all going to be there, and we're super excited to see everyone. I can't wait to hear in-person shout outs when we're there. So if you're there, come by the community lounge, say hello, meet all of these guys, and it's going to be a really great time. I'm really excited. With that, we can dive into the community and social shout outs, starting with Smanta 1984. After completing the agentic process automation training, I feel significantly more prepared to tackle complex challenges at work, particularly those involving the orchestration of intelligent agents across workflows. That is great feedback. Matt, Ollie, is this exactly what you wanted to hear?
Yeah, keep it coming. This is making me feel good.
Yeah, I'm liking
Perfect.
it.
All right. The next one, the hands-on sessions and real-world examples helped me understand how powerful and transformative these technologies can be in the world of automation. Learning how LLMs can interpret and generate human-like responses and how RAG can enhance them by grounding outputs in real-time data opened up an entirely new perspective for me. That is Santosh123. Next, measuring success with faithfulness and completeness opened my mind to the possibilities of how to objectively track the very subjective outputs of LLMs. That one is from Logan Price. Now that we understand what APA can help us achieve and the types of problems it can solve, I feel much more confident in identifying use cases where this technology can be applied. That is Pratik PK0610. Pratik PK0610, send those use cases our way. We have a community Spark section in the community, and your use cases could very much help some other people. So feel free to reach out and let's get those published to the community, because we're so excited about how many different doors this APA training camp has opened for people. And we want to see how people are implementing it into their current programs. The next one, the training so far has given me a good foundation, especially in building small and reliable automation solutions. Oh, sorry, building smart and reliable automation solutions. In my head, I was like, small, that I don't get it, but smart. That makes sense. Learning about enterprise knowledge, using AI to summarize and create content, and building trustworthy AI agents has been really helpful. That is Datha Lahara. And then finally, I believe that one of the main barriers to AI adoption within organizations is a lack of awareness. Throughout the program, we have been equipped with valuable strategies and resources that empower us to act as ambassadors of this transformation. Now the challenge and the responsibility lies with us. And that is Miguel Cias.
Two things, Lou. One, you've gotten so good at pronouncing these usernames.
Right?
Two, I'm so glad that this is the type of thing that we wanted to hear. I came from an organization that ran into the problems that you guys have described, learning the solutions to. And it was immensely frustrating to have to do re-education and pointing out to people that you can get wins. When you misread smart as small, it didn't even bother me, because the use case that my former leadership was so excited to do, something that was worth $10 million, and they were focused on it, like $10 million a year, and all they had to do was solve every single problem that's still left unsolved by every major company on Earth. So needless to say, they haven't done anything yet, but small can still be impactful. You know, that's one of the reasons that we have deliberately split up these tools into individual components. Sure, you can throw anything into a prompt and have it done all at once, but if you break it into its smaller pieces and solve individual problems deliberately, you can make something that is far more resilient and at an enterprise level, something that can actually be put into production. If a single word is changed in one of those gigantic deep research style prompts, you're getting a completely different outcome. And that's really not great for what enterprises want. If you break it into the parts where in Ollie's end-to-end, the tool that makes the decisions on what tool to call, it's a decision-making prompt. You can build that and test that in a very, very specific way. And for all the other tools, you can test them in a very specific way. And if anything needs to change, you only need to change and test that one piece. It makes it far better for risk and change management at organizations. So small is not necessarily a bad thing, but smart is considerably better. Yeah, thanks. Next slide, Lou.
Thanks, Matt. No, I am speechless, because that was a really good way to focus on that. And I do think that's important, because that is one of the biggest things that we're teaching and everyone is learning about, just the very small pieces that build up this full process. So good job. Next, we have the swag discussion series. So our winners for last week, we have Miriam 7744, Sanjay Vyas, TTEBON, Pratik PK 0610, and Datha Lahari.
Just complimented you.
Yeah, so good until like 4 out of 5.
I said something. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Congrats, guys. Thank you for the kind words.
You got me in my head. I was doing so well.
Yep.
So yeah, these are our winners. The final swag discussion series post is live. We will be doing one final poll and we'll post those winners next week. If you have won, we will be reaching out with all of the next steps once APATC wraps up. And yeah, congratulations. Thank you guys for all of the wonderful contributions to our swag discussion series and just in the training camp at large. Matt, Ollie, back to you guys.
Awesome. I think this is the last slide. Yeah, let's just talk about Imagine real quick. Scan the QR code here if you are interested in going. It is in Orlando, Florida this year. If you do attend, unfortunately, there are no sessions at Disney World or Universal. Everything is in the resort. So you will have to, deal with us and learn from us inside a hotel while it's beautiful outside. But we'll make it worth your while.
I should say as well, Matt and I are doing a session, hands-on lab, building your first autonomous AI agent. So it might not feel like Disneyland, but there'll be plenty of magic flying around the room. That I can promise. So
that was a great line.
I was working on that all today. If you want to know what have I done today, I wrote that joke. That was it.
That's such a good line. Yeah. So everyone, thank you for attending. I do see one question in the chat right now, and then we'll take any more. How much time do we have after today if we are behind in the course? So depends. If you are in the leader track, you have unlimited time. You will never run that out. That is something that will be always available within Automation Anywhere University. If you are taking the developer track, you have about another week or two before that control room access is taken away. Having said that, if you have these, if you've purchased these licenses and you are on your own control room at work, these courses will always be up and available in Automation Anywhere University. You just won't have a place to be able to do them unless your organization has the necessary access. If you absolutely need additional extensions, work with your account team. We are setting something up so that they know exactly what they need to set up to do mini camps or get people access to a control room so they can finish this types of training. All right. Was there any other questions? I don't see any more in here. I see a couple of people just being thankful and greeting. So I can say, hopefully see you guys at Imagine. Ollie, great job on the joke. We've waited 4 weeks for you to deliver it, and I think it was worth it. Take care, everyone. See you at Imagine. Hopefully see you for the next training camps.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.